ustedes al señor Noel Mendoza, quien es el Country Manager, el representante de Tech Mahindra en México. Perdón, de Tech Conviva, de Mahindra Conviva en México. Por favor, Noel.
Por favor.
Muchas gracias, Manuel. Buenos días a todos. En nombre de Mahindra Conviva, le damos la más cordial bienvenida. Mi nombre es Noel Mendoza, represento a Mahindra Conviva en México. Y como bien dijo Manuel, queremos aprovechar esta gran oportunidad para hacerles un anuncio sobre quién es Mahindra Conviva y un tema específico sobre las soluciones que maneja nuestra empresa. Mahindra Conviva es una compañía global, es líder en servicios de valor agregado, enfocado a operadores móviles, es subsidiaria de otra empresa india que se llama Tech Mahindra y que tiene ingresos anuales de 16.5 mil millones de dólares. Como dije, es una empresa global con presencia en más de 90 países y clientes alrededor del mundo en 130 más o menos. El portafolio de Conviva es extenso. Ofrecemos sobre todo operadores móviles en el rango de telecomunicaciones, soluciones de mensajería, soluciones de datos e internet broadband, soluciones financieras móviles y también el tema que vamos a traer el día de hoy es referente a soluciones, le llamamos Customer Value Solutions. Para ello quiero presentarles a mi VP de Américas, el señor Vikram Chandba, quien es, como dije, Business Development and Americas VP for Mahindra Conviva en Latinoamérica.
Los funcionarios de Mahindra Conviva que van a hablar ahora solo hablan inglés. En sus mesas tienen aparatos de traducción simultánea por si lo requieren, si hace falta en alguna mesa, en todas las mesas. Gracias.
Gracias, Manuel and Noel. Bienvenidos a Mahindra Conviva. Muchas gracias por esta gran oportunidad. Ahora voy a cambiar a inglés. That's how much I know about Spanish. Welcome to Mahindra Conviva. My name is Vikram Chandba. I'm the Senior Vice President for Americas Group, and I also head up the channels for Mahindra Conviva. I've been with Mahindra Conviva for about 7 years. Our company is about 15 years old, and what I will do is take about 10-15 minutes of your time to introduce you to who we are, what we are doing, especially in the region here in Americas and Latin America. That's a big growth area for us, and we see a lot of opportunity in this place. And we are already in about 10 countries where we have deployed our products and have presence for about 4-5 years. But today, with all the changes happening around the region, and especially in Mexico, we are very excited to be here. Among the opportunities and the growing business that is happening, especially in the telecommunications, mobile payments, financial area as well as retail area, and everywhere the mobile is now important. And what we are trying to do is bring our solutions, which have been deployed in almost 90 countries worldwide, to Mexico. So Mahindra Conviva stands for Mobility Solutions. Anything to do with communications, commerce, data, content, entertainment, anything where you are using your mobile as your primary vehicle for entertainment, commerce, data, communication, that's where Mahindra Conviva plays a role. As Noel has mentioned, we are part of a big entity called Mahindra. Mahindra Group, just to give you an analogy, is similar to Grupo Carso. similar type of an organization. Mahindra Group is about $16.2 billion based out of India, and they have businesses in various areas, in automotive, telecommunications, IT, finance, hospitality and hotels, etc. Out of that, Tech Mahindra is about a 3.2 billion group, which is based in the technology sector. It's one of the biggest organization out of India, focusing primarily on the telecommunications market worldwide. And Mahindra Comviva, which has been around for about 15 years, is now part of the Tech Mahindra as a subsidiary of Tech Mahindra. So if you look at history of Mahindra Comviva, you can, as you can see, you can go all the way up to here. Yeah. So this gives you a quick timeline of who we have been. As I said, we started in 1999. It was originally called as Bharti Telesoft, and then in 2009 we rebranded to Comviva, and in 2012, when Tech Mahindra took a stake in, they looked at our growth and our opportunities and the progress that we can do, and then took a stake in us, and that's when we rebranded as Mahindra Comviva. So today we stand at about 1,500 employees worldwide. We are present in about 90 countries, and I will tell you quickly about our portfolio of products and solutions. And we are engaged and working with, our products are being used by over 1 billion subscribers worldwide. Okay, so out of the 7 or 6.5 billion population, about 1 billion are already using our products. And this is in the terms of, anytime you take a prepaid mobile connection and you do a recharge on your balance, that's when Mahindra Comviva comes into play. Anytime you send an SMS, we provide the systems to the telco operators that you can send an SMS. Anytime you do a mobile money transaction, Mahindra Comviva plays a role in there. Anytime you are listening to music or a ringback tone, that's our product. So around 90 countries where people do these actions, that's where we get into, we are in the flow of that chain of action taken by the subscriber. So the three things we are looking at is, from Mahindra Comviva perspective, the three major points I would like you to remember is about our global footprint, about 90 countries, very wide portfolio and deep engagement with the operator community, the mobile financial companies, as well as the retail companies. Okay, and then from a customer value enhancement perspective. So if you look at today, the days of acquiring more customers are gone, or they are kind of slowing down. So today what is more important is your existing customers, how you work with them, how you increase their satisfaction, how you engage with them, how you increase their spend on your network, and how do you provide the best services that will affect their livelihood and their lifestyle. And that is what Mahindra Comviva stands for. If you look at our global offices, we are headquartered in India, in Delhi, and we have a big development center in the Silicon Valley of India, which is called Bangalore. And then outside of India, we have set up presence over the last 15 years. In Africa, if you see, Africa has about 52 countries, and we are in more than 35 countries of Africa where our product is already deployed. Similarly, in the Middle East, in the South Asia, in LATAM, we are in about 10 countries. I will show you the list later on. But as we are growing with our portfolio expansion, we have gone from India to Middle East to to Africa to LATAM. We are also penetrating now Europe as well as Americas. So one of the advantages we bring is we have worked with very small operators and we work with very large operators. So for example, one of our customers is Airtel, which is out of India and which is also based in Africa. They have over 250 million subscribers today. Okay. So it's in that size, it is similar in size to America Mobile Group, for example, right? So we work with big groups and we work with small companies as well. So we see the opportunities and the characteristics of the market that we started off in India or in Africa. A lot of those opportunities and the services are very interesting, like mobile money, started off in Africa, but now it is being used by everywhere, including LATAM, where we have deployments. So we see opportunities like that. Just to give you a brief on our product portfolio, if you would remember only 3 things, I would say it is our solutions in the digital content, and by digital content mean anything you use your mobile for entertainment and news and information. So it is music, it is multimedia content, it is getting onto the network to consume music, for example. So we have built a whole ecosystem wherein we have connections with all content providers, and we provide that content through our systems, working with the operators and the content providers and to the end subscribers like you and me. Similarly with the mobile data. So today there are more people connected to the internet via their mobile rather than their PCs and laptops or their desktops. Okay, and that's where we come into play. We enable the communication of the subscriber and getting onto the internet using their browsers, and that's the technology that we provide. And finally, commerce. So mobile is now becoming very fast the primary medium of mobile commerce. So everybody is using the mobile not to just get on the internet or buy things from Amazon or anybody, but more than that, at retail stores, at ATMs, everywhere you will see people using their mobile doing their transactions. And in the next 4-5 years, you will see that happening everywhere. And that's where we are playing. You see some numbers here about the different countries and the different operators and the different companies that we are working with. This is a little more technical, but gives you a very wide array of our portfolio in the lifestyle area, in the messaging side, in the broadband, in the financial side, customer value management, in mobile applications, and then we also help the operators and the companies that we work with in terms of managing the whole thing, just not giving them the technology, but helping them actually get value out of that technology, and we provide the people, processes, and the tools to do that. Our global customer base, as I mentioned, about 90 countries, 130 operators. So you see that we are very fast painting everything red, and that's, we hope that we will do the same here in LATAM and be able to bring value to the customers that we are now discussing. Here in Mexico, we are in discussions with all the major operators as well as some financial institutions, and hopefully very soon we will be able to announce some big deals here in Mexico itself. Just to give you an idea about LATAM, our current presence, we are working with Tigo, Millicom in all those countries there. Here are some of the names of our products. Mobiquity, our mobile money product. USSD, our messaging. Pretubs is our electronic recharge or top-up. So anytime you go to the street seller and top up your prepaid account, that's going through our system. And then there are other countries like Orange in Dominican Republic, in Curacao, in Guyana, where we also have products. And we also work with Claro in Peru with our electronic recharge. So coming to the end of our presentation, I would like to give you, outside of LATAM, who are the big names that we are working with. If you see the operators, there's a whole list of operators, all the big operators in the world, like Orange, Vodafone, MTN, Airtel. These are some big names that we work with. We would very much like to see all the big names in LATAM also come up here now, very soon. We work with our channel partners, which are some of the big companies that you see in the telecom world. And similarly, we work with all the technology partners, which we use in our technology to bring to the companies that we work with. And just to end our presentation here, Comviva has been at the forefront of innovation in terms of introducing new ideas, very innovative ideas into the market, and this has been recognized by different organizations around the world like GSMA, which is the major entity organization in our mobile world, as well as many other companies, and you see here the timeline of the type of awards that we've got just from 2011 onwards. There's a lot more before that. And we are hoping that our work in the LATAM region is also, we will be able to bring this value to the LATAM region. So that's all I would like to say. I would like to introduce now my colleague Amit. And one of the things that we are holding this conference for today is to discuss about our solutions in the customer value management area. And I would like Amit to briefly describe to you what are the pain points the industry is facing today and what are we doing about it in the customer value management area. Muchas gracias.
Buenos dias. I learned it last week. This presentation that we'll go through in the next 20 to 25 minutes would be focused completely on the Latin American market. And this is telecom specific. In today's world, if you see the telecommunications industry, either you have a player who has a very high market share, or you have a market which is highly competitive in terms of new acquisitions becoming very, very difficult. Now, everybody today is talking of big data, everybody is talking of analytics. However, if you see in the industry today, there are very, very few applications that use big data. Everybody talks of big data, but nobody knows very clearly what does big data mean. So we are not going to talk of big data. We are going to talk of how Comviva solutions can help operators in the Latin American market grow their revenues from the existing subscriber base. So given that new customer acquisitions are slowing down, it is imperative that I have a higher share of the prepaid wallet from my existing base. So that's what we will go through in the next about 20 to 25 minutes. This is what we will go through. Growth isn't growth anymore. So the definition of growth has changed completely over the last 5 or 6 years. However, in the industry, the telecom operator continues to be significantly relevant, both from an economic perspective as well as from a customer value perspective. How does analytics play a role in today's world? About a decade back, what I generally represent the landscape as, about a decade back, telecommunication was a land grab opportunity. Very few mobile phones, call rates were very expensive, coverage was not very good. However, if you see today, the call rates are cheap, there are a lot of operators, customer has a lot of options. Hence, how do I ensure through the power of analytics, data, that I understand the customer? Today, the customer wants that the service provider understands me and not that the operator just sends me messages or promotional communication, which is not relevant. So how does analytics play a role in that? Going forward, we will see everybody today is the digital age. Everybody is talking of digital marketing. Can we have a very different definition of what are the digital assets? If I ask in this room what is digital marketing, a very common answer that I hear is digital marketing is about advertising on a website. From an operator perspective, can I have a completely new definition of digital assets and also have tools to leverage those assets in the current world? Fundamentally, as an operator, as a service provider, can I have systems and solutions which help me keep customers longer on the network, also drive higher value from the same customer? Finally, we'll get into some details on how the market has been moving, and we will close with a Comviva solution which addresses what we spoke last. This is the market today. If it's okay, I will just move a little bit here. Am I audible? Yeah. The telecom world has changed significantly. So this is the subscriber growth rates from 2013 projected up to 2020. If you see, for none of the regions, the growth rates are even 10%. If you were to draw this curve 10 years back, every region would have shown a growth rate of 10+%. Telecom subscriber acquisition growth has significantly slowed down. And if you look at Latin America, in between, it's 3%. It's barely managing to grow year on year in terms of new customer acquisition. Now, why is that the case? If I do a poll in this room, I will have at least 30% people who have more than one mobile phones. The prevalence of people having more than one SIM, more than one phone is now very, very common. I will take Africa as an example. Now, why have I put Africa? Traditionally, the belief is only the developed world has this phenomenon. Really, really developed world. So I've tried to take the extreme end, which is Africa. And if you see the African market, on an average, each customer has about 2 SIMs or 2 phones. Very unrealistic if you think from an African perspective, but that's the fact. Now, if this is the case, my customer acquisition has slowed down, the industry is facing hyper competition, the only thing that I can do as a service provider is retain my customers better and ensure that my customers are happy, satisfied, engaged with me so that I get a higher share of the wallet. If you see the left side, this was what was 10 years back. And when I go through this slide, you will realize all of us here have gone through this. That's not the case anymore. Are these items familiar? The communication that the operator used to do 5-6 years back or even today used to be just send irrelevant offers one after the other, hoping that you will like at least one of them. Every communication was aligned to the operator and not to you. Communication was one way. I send you an offer, a promotional message. I don't expect any feedback from you. Every business or every product in the operator's network had a separate communication. So in a single day, you could actually end up receiving 2 emails or 3 SMS messages offering you everything around the sun with respect to the operator's product portfolio. Systems of the operator side also was very, very manual and semi-automated. Why? Because if you see, it was a land grab opportunity. I don't need to invest in systems. Why do I not need to invest in systems? Because very few people had mobile phones. That's not the case anymore. Now if you see the right hand side, I as a customer want to know what you as an operator have for me. I'm not really concerned what you can do for us. Us has changed to me. Every customer wants personalization at his level. I am not too bothered what you can do within Mexico City. I am really bothered about, I live in a particular area, and in that area, what can you offer to me? So I have become very, very consumerist. I also want the operator to listen to me. If I get an offer message, say an SMS or an email, and assuming I don't take that offer, please don't send that offer to me anymore. I want a two-way dialogue. The systems are now evolving to be fully automated. And finally, what we talk about in the Comviva communication is systems need to be near real time. What is near real time? If I were to want an ice cream now, I'm thinking of having an ice cream now. I want the ice cream now. If you send me a message saying, would you like an ice cream 1 week later? No, not 1 week later. I wanted it last week. So this is the analogy again in the telecom network. If I have a service, say I am a prepaid customer, and I am thinking what kind of a recharge I should do, I should have an offer right then which understands what is my need and gives me an offer which suits my budget. But if you happen to send me that offer 1 week later, 1 month later, it's irrelevant. And I actually get really annoyed saying, why are you sending me these offers? So from mass marketing, the telecom world has now moved to what we call as segment of one. There is no us anymore, it is me. It's all about me. Now, what I started off with. If I ask about digital marketing or what is digital, most of us tend to believe that digital marketing is some advertising that you see on a website which asks you to click and do a transaction. That's how it has been going on for years. Where the world is moving to, and that's where Comviva solutions fit in, is the real digital assets are the customers, not the website. Now there are a lot of things that all of us, whether knowingly or unknowingly, declare about ourselves to the operator. When you make a call, when you receive a call, when you send a text message, when you browse the internet, there is a lot of things that you unknowingly declare to the customer. Is it an invasion of privacy? No, it is not about your personal effects, but it says a lot about your likes and dislikes. How long do I like to talk? With whom do I talk the most? Do I usually browse the internet in the night or in the day? How many messages do I send? Or am I a WhatsApp guy? There is a lot of information that each customer declares to the operator, and the operator does not use that information. Are there systems which now can convert traditional digital assets into these transactional usage pattern, social media interactions as new age digital assets? The old digital assets were just website banners and some advertising. That's not the case anymore. Now, if these were to be the new age assets, are there solutions which can be used to leverage these assets? Unfortunately, even if I do a poll now, in the last 1 week, how many messages would you have got from your service provider? How many emails, how many SMS? You would still say a lot. Unfortunately, in today's world, there are very, very few solutions which understand the new age assets and try to do a segment of one. Again, from us to me. In effect, what is important in today's world is how do I understand the customer and not the market. Everybody talks here of market. We talk of the customer. That's the difference between the Comviva solution and what usually happens in the industry currently. This is traditional marketing. Do I have the right products? Do the customers know that I have the right products? I may have everything. Till I go to a shop and find out, can I know what you have? If I send you a communication on an SMS or maybe an email, can I send you a communication from that whole set of products that I have, identifying what you may actually like and send you that? As an operator or a service provider, I may have a whole list. Two issues there. You don't know that I have those products. You have to actually go and figure it out yourself. Second, even if you were to figure out, the choice is just too many. What the Comviva philosophy is the problem in life is choice. If I remove choice and identify the customer as an individual and personalize services to that individual, life becomes simple. The world has completely moved from the service provider to the customer. Customer is the king. Customer has always been the king. But customer has been the king in most other industries, not in telecommunications. Why? Very low coverage, low number of operators available, very few services to take. But today if you see, customer is the king again, and now in telecom. Now, from a service provider side, what is important is to identify who the customer is. If I were to be a service provider in a market, what do I know about you? I just know about your mobile number, the cell phone number, that's it. I don't know your name, I don't know where you live, I don't know what you like, I don't know whether you like ice cream at all. Now, given the data that you are sharing with the operator in terms of your calls, SMSs, WhatsApp usage, can I form a very, very credible profile of yours and tailor-make services which suits your need? Who, when, where? That's the fundamental question that the operator has today. And these questions are there for all the services. If I am an operator who provides voice, SMS, data can be any data, 2G, 3G, 4G, I still need to know about the customer. Unfortunately, even though today the world has lots of data, and let me take Latin America as an example. If I look at teledensity, as in how many mobile phones are there for every 100 people in the country, the penetration is huge. Each of those people are making calls, sending text messages, browsing on the internet, accessing Facebook, generally generating a lot of information. There is no dearth of information. There has never been any dearth of information. What has the industry been struggling with is, how do I make sense of data? So the whole presentation that we are going through today is about the Comviva solution, which helps make sense of data and create propositions for the customer which are tailor-made to that particular individual. That's the power of analytics. We all have heard of segmentation. Segment A, segment B, large segment, small segment, urban, rural, highly educated, high school, college educated, university educated. What we are talking is segment of one. One person is a segment. If I have 100 customers, each customer is a segment. That means I have 100 segments. If I have 100 segments, it is literally impossible for me to provide solutions for each one of them. Each one of them is an individual customer. I am different than him. He is different from you. If I were to treat all of you sitting in this table as one group, I would go horribly wrong. But if I look at you are different than him, and him, and him, maybe I can do a far better job in understanding your needs and give you services which suit you. If I do that, you are highly likely to go and purchase that service. I will again go back to the ice cream example. So I like vanilla ice cream, and I like vanilla ice cream from a particular brand. Now, why do I like vanilla ice cream? Because I like vanilla ice cream. Now, if there is a new brand that comes in, and I see an ad in the TV, if it says vanilla, I like it. If it says just ice cream, okay, that means it's just general ice cream. I will not even try to explore. If somebody very clearly understands what I need, I am most likely to buy that. Second, if I like vanilla, what else do I like? Maybe a vanilla ice cream scoop, or a sundae, or maybe vanilla ice cream with some wafers on top of it. As an operator, how do I understand one need and go ahead and create a profile of you which understands other needs? That I may also like a wafer with a vanilla ice cream. I may actually like a sundae instead of a single scoop. I may not like the ice cream in a cup, I like it in a cone. As an operator, if I have voice, text, data, different types of data, how do I use analytics, the power of numbers, to create a profile of you and offer you services across my portfolio, different services where each in some way linked to the other. What we call in the Comviva terminology is understanding the customer's intent. If you see the last line, this is something that we love. This is where the industry is today. Averages is for marketers who don't have enough information to be accurate. That's why I create segments which have a lot of people. I never create segments which has one person. Because I love averages. I don't know about one person. Can I move to a world where I am not treating people as averages or groups, and am I treating people as individuals and marketing products and services suited to that particular individual? What does it take? There is some profile of the customer. So maybe you are classified by your service provider as a platinum customer. Why platinum? Maybe you use the service a lot. Maybe you travel abroad a lot. You are a high value customer for the service provider. That's one profile. Other profile is how long, how much, and how fast do you transact? Let me just do a simple poll here. How many of us here have a prepaid mobile? Just a simple poll. Can we show a raise of hands? Prepaid mobile? Okay. Postpaid is all others. Now let's take a prepaid mobile case. The amount of time I go and recharge or top up my prepaid account and the value that I put in every time shows a lot about me. Do I recharge with $1 but once in a month, or $1 5 times in a month, or $1 once in a 2 months, or actually $1 but split into 50 cents each? That shows a lot about how I value spending, how budget conscious I am, and do I load my balance as an emergency, as in I load a large amount of balance, or I just load when I need it. That's called RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary value. So that's one more way of profiling. The first way was how much value do you generate from the operator. The third way of profiling is where do you stay? How long do you talk? Who are your frequently called numbers? Do you call more or do you receive calls more? Do you browse the internet in the day or in the night? Are you comfortable with using 3G when your device can actually do 4G? Why? Maybe you don't need 4G, you don't want that speed. Now if I see these three, the ways of customer profiling have evolved over a period of time. Most operators today are here. They just profile you as a group basis on the amount of money you generate for the operator. But as a customer, none of us wants to be clubbed with 100 others. Those are clusters, as the industry calls. I don't care about clusters, I care about me. Is there a way that I can use all three ways of profiling together and create one value for the customer? What is the purpose? Why should I even create one value? As an operator, as a service provider, telecom service provider, what are the things that I would love that my customers do? I want to acquire customers. I want to help them grow, generate more business. I want them to be with my network and not go to competition, retain customers. And if at all you are dissatisfied with my network or my prices and decide to move on to a different operator, I need to have some mechanism to say, hey, I have a better offer for you. That in effect means I need to have a sense of pricing. How much do you want to pay? Just because I have a recharge of $1, but you want a recharge of 50 cents, you are okay with spending $1, but in 2 installments. Can I have prices which suit to your need? Can I send you offers which are not what we call, or the industry calls generally as carpet bombing? Mass of offers going out with no relevance. Can I send real-time offers? Can I recommend services for you? And finally, you have been loyal as a customer to me as a service provider. What do you get in return? You get a good network, you are associated with a good brand. What else? Can I give back? Reward the customer for the loyalty and feel privileged that you are a part of my network. This is what was before. Profiling basis history. The amount of calls you make, the amount of money you spend shows something about you. So I as a service provider profile you basis that. High value customer, not so high value customer. High on my engagement, low on my engagement. But then I send you an offer basis what I know of your past profile. That in effect means I as a service provider, I assume that history will repeat itself. I will go back to my ice cream example. I had an ice cream 10 days back. In the telecom analogy, the service provider would send me an ice cream message. I don't want the ice cream today. I want a bread today or a cake today. But given that I had an ice cream 10 days back, you as a service provider assume that I like only ice cream. Do I like ice cream? Yes. Do I only like ice cream? No. But all our offers are basis from the service provider side with a very, very fundamental philosophy saying history will repeat itself. What Mahindra Comviva does is takes history is important, and we match with something called as context. which is here and now. What do I want now? Then send a targeted communication to the customer with a very fundamental philosophy again that history may not repeat itself. So if I were to be a Comviva solution user, I am a service provider A in Mexico City, I would send me a bread communication or a cake communication today in spite of me having an ice cream last week. If I were to be a service provider today again in Mexico City, not with a Comviva solution, I would again send you an ice cream communication. So history may not repeat itself. Fundamentally, it is the entire ecosystem or the entire solution system works on the premise of understanding the customer. All of us here fundamentally believe, all the industries also fundamentally believe that you need to understand the customer. Nice to say. How do you do that in real life? How do I make the customer feel important? How do I make the customer feel that I as the service provider understands you? How as a service provider I feel that you are valued? How do I show you that value? That's all about understanding customer behavior, and that's what we are talking here today. Having said this, this is the last part of my presentation, which is all these were problems which we discussed till now. And most of us agree that yes, those problems are there. I may ignore some, I may think that some are of high value, but I really don't know, is there a solution? We are happy to be in Mexico, and one of the solutions that we have envisaged to offer in this market is what we call as real-time marketing and customer engagement solution. Now, we spoke of an all-round approach, understanding the customer not only because he pays me well or he recharges with a very high value, but understanding the customer from his intent. Comviva has a solution called Revenue Plus, and if you look at the name, it is revenue and plus. We'll come to why it is plus. What is the plus in revenue? Everybody wants revenue. Every service provider wants money, more money. The solution has artifacts, components, which are analytics based, information based, helping the operator to segment customers to an extent of one. One customer is a segment. After I have segmented, understanding the customer's needs and wants and sending a campaign to the customer. As in, what is the product I think you may like? And if you don't like the product, I will not offer you that product anymore. Okay. Solution also offers a system where if I am dissatisfied with my service provider, my calls are not connecting. Today I need to register my complaint with the service provider, only then the service provider will act. Is there a way where I understand that yes, you have a problem with me and predict your dissatisfaction? Everything today is post facto, as in prospective. Can I convert that without you telling me that yes, I am not happy, please do something about me? Maybe I am not happy with my network, maybe my calls are not connecting, maybe your prices are too high for me. Maybe I am okay with making calls within Mexico City, but I am just not able to make any international calls. All this today happens only if you call up customer service and tell the service provider. So solution also offers a component which is prediction of dissatisfaction, leading to churn. Finally, we get into the most important part of the solution, which is loyalty. How do I reward my customer? As a customer, we are paying the service provider, we are recharging. If I am a post-pay customer, I am paying my bills. I am paying my bills on time. What do I get in return? Better network, good coverage. But isn't that the service provider's job to do that? Am I being valued as a customer? And if I am being valued, does my service provider show that value? So how do I have solutions which is about subscriber loyalty? Going back to, again, do I understand the customer? The solution also has a component called recommendation engine. Solution also has a component called recommendation engine, which is understanding your intent, what you may like versus what I like. I as an operator, I like to sell you a voice pack for $1. You don't want it for $1, you want it for 50 cents. Can I understand that? How do I recommend services? The plus in the Revenue Plus solution is the horizontal. The Comviva solution comes with business consulting and deep customer insights, where Comviva works along with the service provider and not as a vendor to help the service provider implement and make use of the solutions that we have. The business consulting and consumer insights part is the plus in Revenue Plus. How does it work? I will be a little brief on these slides. There is significant amount of data available in the system. Volume of data is very high. The rate at which the data comes, if I were to be a subscriber, I make 5 calls a day. There are 100 million like me. The rate at which the data comes to me is enormous. The variety of data that comes to me is also enormous. I not only make calls, I also send texts. So the magnitude of the challenge that the operator has in terms of understanding or making sense of data is huge. So what works? The solution creates a profile of the customer, identifies the right product for the customer, also identifies the right time. If I were to get an SMS at 8 AM in the morning when I am driving to office, I may not look at it. But if I as a service provider understands that you are driving, or maybe you will not look at the SMS, maybe the SMS will go to me with an offer in the afternoon, right time and right price. Yeah. This is a very graphical view of how the solution works. Too much data on this, but let me be very, very brief on this. There are sources of data, transactional data, that's history, profile of the customer, your likes and dislikes, your location, where do you stay, social media, do you browse on Google or do you also go to Facebook? If you go to Facebook, do you also go to Twitter? That's my understanding. Versus what do I do inside Facebook? That is invasion of privacy. Nobody wants that. But if I can just understand that you are a social media user, that says a lot about me. That data flows into what we call as the heart of the system, which is the profiling and analytics layer that creates a profile basis this data. Basis the profile, recommendations are made, and finally the recommendations are delivered to the customer in the preferred way that you want. So for example, if I would have got an offer on SMS from a service provider and I ignored the offer, next week I got an offer on an email and I continue to respond to offers which come on an email. That means I prefer email as a communication. I don't need to tell the operator that I prefer that. System understands and delivers the offer on the channel that you prefer the most. Finally, and this is how I close the discussion, Vikram presented Comviva, our presence. These are deployments of the analytics solution. We cover almost all geographies today, significantly large operators. The number of transactions, as in the number of communications that flow in through the Comviva systems today is about 60 million a day. That's a lot. We will be happy to come on board in Mexico City. And that's what we are targeting for this year. This year is like next 2 months. That's all I had to discuss. I am open to questions and feedback.
Muchas gracias a Amit Sanyal. Amit Sanyal es nuestro VP global de esta solución, Customer Value Management Solution. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, comentario que quiera hacer.
Verónica Reynolds, de la agencia Notimex. Me gustaría saber entonces cuál va a ser el mercado potencial en México, cuáles son las industrias que realmente van a tratar de penetrar, y cuál es la visión que tienen hacia el 2015. Acabamos de tener una reforma de telecomunicaciones, tuvimos un periodo de reformas, entre ellas están involucradas algunos de los segmentos donde ustedes participan. Entonces, ¿cuál es el mercado potencial que ven en México y hacia dónde van?
Precisamente eso era lo que yo quería cerrar en esta sesión, que en Mahindra Conviva vemos un gran potencial para este tipo de soluciones. El reciente anuncio de esta operadora americana adquiriendo 100% del tercer operador móvil más grande de México, precisamente va a cambiar todo, que es el mercado competitivo en las operadoras celulares. Y esta solución precisamente va a ayudar a cómo mantener a los clientes actuales de estas operadoras y entender más su comportamiento de consumo. Las operadoras celulares hoy día tienen toda esta información, sin embargo nunca la han explotado, o casi no la han explotado. Y precisamente este tipo de soluciones de Customer Value Management va a ayudar a generar la información relevante, el mercado contextual, para que estas operadoras ofrezcan servicios personalizados para el cliente clave. No sé si con esto
no me
respondo
queda
a
claro.
tu pregunta.
O sea, lo que vas a hacer es ir con Telmex o ir con, no sé, para vender esta solución. O sea,
La solución que estamos presentando precisamente se enfoca a operadoras celulares fijas y todas aquellas que van hacia la convergencia de triple play, quadruple play. Convergemos todas estas soluciones, todos estos servicios de estos carriers en este tipo de solución. Es enfocado a telecom.
Bueno, concretamente, por ejemplo, ahorita que está hablando de esto, en México existe una especie de guerra en este momento bastante fuerte entre los operadores. Si alguno de estos operadores los contrata, el otro ya no puede contratarlos o hay algún...
No, para nada. Tenemos países en donde tenemos más de un cliente en la operadora. Nuestras soluciones son customizadas dependiendo precisamente del modelo de negocios de cada carrier. No tenemos ninguna exclusividad y podemos proveer este servicio, esa solución abiertamente, sin problema.
pero entonces, ¿qué me garantiza que lo que me vendes a mí no se lo está vendiendo? O sea, ¿cuál sería ahí la diferencia o no? ¿El plus que me vas a dar a mí o le vas a dar a él?
Bueno, puede ser que, por ejemplo, vamos a suponer un MVNO reciente que se acaba de entrar al mercado, ¿no? El Virgin Mobile. Ellos están muy enfocados al segmento juvenil, ¿no? La solución precisamente va a ayudar a capturar ese tipo de información e identificar cuáles son sus gustos, sus necesidades, su comportamiento de consumo. Para otro tipo de operadores, llamemos Nextel, ellos están enfocados a pymes o microempresarios. Para ellos esos son otro tipo de soluciones, los servicios que demandan.
La minería de datos ha existido desde hace 15 años y muchos de sus proveedores y sponsors tienen estos servicios a través de CRM, RPs. ¿Cuál sería el diferenciador que ustedes tendrían que aportar sobre estas alianzas que ya tienen Copí, que tienen ADEL, IBM, todas las empresas que se dedican a estos grandes corporativos? ¿Cuál sería el diferenciador en la parte de Data México?
If I understood the question correctly, I will repeat that. So effectively what I'm hearing is you want to know what is the difference in solutions that I provide in different markets for different operators. Our fundamental belief is you as a customer are different. Each operator has different sets of customers. So when a solution is implemented in, say, Airtel, and the same solution is implemented in, for example, operator B, the needs and wants of the customers in each of those operators are different. The solution is tailor-made to that operator. So it is not a boxed solution in a box. It is customized for that operator. So every time a deployment happens, it is unique to that customer. Does it answer?
Sí, tienes razón. Ha habido ya varias soluciones CRM, Analytics en el mercado. Lo que hace diferente, nosotros no somos CRM, no proveemos ese tipo de solución. Lo que hacemos es capturar en tiempo real toda la información que se va generando, ¿no? Los CDRs le llamamos, y se conectan directamente a cada uno de los elementos de red de las operadoras. Eso hace que nosotros concentremos esa información y la trabajemos, la segmentemos precisamente para generar servicios que el área de marketing de estas operadoras estén interesados en promover. Esos servicios personalizados deberán ser en tiempo real. Yo creo que esa es la clave para este tipo de soluciones. Hoy día, las CRMs que manejan las operadoras les lleva tiempo extraer esta información y prepararla. Y como dijo Amit anteriormente, se requiere este tipo de información en tiempo real. Yo creo que esa es la clave.
Dos preguntas. ¿Por qué México? Y la situación política que vive el país hace viable el éxito de la llegada de esta empresa.
En realidad, la empresa Mahindra Conviva ya tiene 2 años. Abrimos oficinas hace 2 años en México. Yo represento a México y Centroamérica, y el ambiente de negocios sigue su cauce. Sabemos la situación actual, la situación que tenemos en el país, pero bueno, creo que más bien la manera en cómo se están manejando las operadoras es en el ambiente competitivo que está por venir. Como mencioné, la entrada de AT&T va a reforzar. Finalmente, veámonos como usuarios finales, nos va a beneficiar. Habrá mayor competencia y pues, esto ayudará a todo el sector.
Pero se habla, y sobre todo en el sector económico, se habla de inseguridades. O sea, se ha sopesado esa situación de la inseguridad que se vive actualmente en el país.
Realmente no tengo datos en este momento para asegurarte cómo ha sido el impacto en las operadoras. Nosotros como inversionistas estamos muy optimistas de la situación en México. Esto es independiente de la situación actual. No ha habido un impacto negativo hasta el momento.
Gracias, buen día. Carolina Ruiz del Financiero. Quería ver si me puedes dar un poco más de detalle acerca de cómo van a realizar este marketing real, en cuánto tiempo esperan obtener contrataciones, me refiero en cuánto tiempo tú le vendes la solución a alguien y cuánto tiempo tiene que transcurrir para que él empiece a ver soluciones verdaderas en tiempo real, y cuánto es el margen de ganancia que esperan obtener, no sé, en el primer trimestre del 2015, por ejemplo. Gracias.
Yeah, thank you, Carlin. If I understand your question correctly, you are asking about the solution that we talked about today about the real-time marketing, how long it will take to come to market, and what sort of profitability we are expecting from it, right? So I cannot mention the names today, but we are in deep discussion with the major operators here, right here in Mexico City right now, about our platform from a real-time marketing perspective, the Revenue Plus that Amit discussed. And we expect to see some of these deployments happening during the first calendar quarter, which is January through March of next year, of 2015. Okay. In terms of our profitability, I think, we are right now more focused on getting our solutions to the market. As a company, we have been growing top line at about 25% every year. And similarly, on the profitability side, as a company, we've been doing that for the last 4-5 years. So we expect that, with all our business globally, we expect that this type of profitability will continue for us, given the outlook we have on the market. Thank you.
Hola, buenos días. Una parte de la lealtad de la que están hablando es la discreción. Se van a manejar datos. En los momentos en que vive el país, mucha gente desconfía que se manejen sus gustos, sus preferencias, sus hábitos. Siempre se han manejado por las compañías, pero ¿Qué tan difícil es que la gente sepa que se saben sus datos y cómo piensan enfrentar ese problema?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question about privacy in this situation, right? And most of the times, this is handled through what is we call as an opt-in. Opt-in means the customer, subscriber is getting some value out of the solution, and the operator is using some data to give them that value. So usually what happens is, there is an opportunity for the operator in this case, or any financial institution for that matter, to present this to the customer and have them opt in, saying, okay, if you would you like to get offers from us, or would you like some additional value if we provide, would you be okay with us using your information? So there is an opt-in for using information from their side to provide you value, and then there is a second level of opt-in wherein they can share the data with somebody else. Typically, in this type of situation, you are not asking for opt-in to share data outside of that organization operator. So main vehicle is explaining to the customer the value that I'm giving back to you in terms of values and promotion, and would you allow me to use your data in order to provide you that value. So the opt-in is the main mechanism that we use for maintaining the privacy of the customer. Hopefully that answers your question.
Gracias, buenos días. Yo tengo una pregunta dirigida a cómo van a utilizar el poder de los analíticos para la búsqueda de insights para proyectos de investigación de mercado o de inteligencia y para aplicación de knowledge management en las empresas.
The solution that Comviva offers in terms of real-time marketing through customer insights, the solution looks at customer trends and also looks at correlation between trends. Again, I will give you an ice cream example. If I took an ice cream in a cone and I took an ice cream in a cup, and I took ice cream twice in a cup but only once in a cone. So what the solution does, ultimately the product is an ice cream, but can I correlate that ice cream to other activities on the network and create trends to have consumer behavior understanding? That is offered internally also to the organization for them to develop better products. Does that answer, ma'am?
Yes, another question, do you have a database or just solutions?
So what the Comviva solution does is, we are not a provider who comes with preconceived notions. So we don't come with a database and say, hey, this suits you. What we do is the solution learns itself. It's a self-learning solution which looks at data over a period of time and then creates own insights over a period of time. So we don't come with a database of solutions, because then it may be horribly wrong.
Okay,
yeah?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I add a little bit? I'll give you a little information from Indian market. I think this is a little interesting example, and maybe it's done here also. So the mobile is very prolific in India. About maybe 6-7 years ago, everybody started having it, and in India, I don't know about this market, but in India you have drivers for your car. Even the middle class has drivers for the car because it's very congested, so it's very easy to get around with a driver. So everybody has a mobile, and what started happening is a lot of missed calls started happening on the network. So what people used was the ability of just calling you and hanging up. So there's nothing happening, meaning from an operator perspective, the call does not get completed and you don't get charged. But say I am at a mall as a owner of the car, and my driver is around somewhere. I just I just give him a missed call saying, come and pick me up, and I hang up. Or the driver calls me and says, okay, I've come for duty, and I hang up. So I don't pay money, but I tell my person that, okay, you have to come and pick me up, okay? So this trend started happening, a lot of missed calls on the network. Well, a marketing company got hold of this information and said, you know what, this is a great idea to do surveys. Okay, so now there are services which have surveys where you have two numbers given to you saying if your answer is yes, give a missed call to this number. If your answer is no, give a missed call to this number. And they collate that information and provide to you as a survey saying, any question. So for example, should you ban cigarettes in Mexico City? If you say yes, then do this. If you say no, do this. And then you get an answer in a survey format. So that's another insight from the market that was used to create surveys, for example. Hopefully that example is relevant, but this is how we find trends in the market and then able to use it at a broader level.
Thank you.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buen día. ¿Qué beneficio tengo yo si decido cambiarme de compañía como usuario común? Si me cambio de compañía, ¿qué beneficios voy a obtener?
Let me understand the question. I think you are saying if I change from one operator to another operator my service, what is the benefit I get as a consumer? Okay. If that is the question, obviously, that depends upon what offer one operator is providing versus the other, right? So, as a consumer, depending upon how I'm using the mobile service, maybe I'm using it only to make some international calls to my, let's say, relatives in the US, right? And my local usage is limited, or I am doing only nighttime calling. So basically, depending on that, you are using your offer. Now, as a subscriber, what the operator has an opportunity is finding your pattern of calling and saying, you know what, this person uses a lot more international calling services and during certain time periods. So if I as an operator, if I am Claro or America Mobile or Nextel, if I know your pattern, I can give you that offer saying, I'll give you X% discount on your most used service and combine it with a package and give you an offer. In that case, obviously you are going to look at that offer and then you're going to change the operator. So basically that's the benefit for you. Now for me as an operator, the most important thing is to understand your calling behavior. And that's what we talked about in this solution here is using that analytics to understand your behavior and then giving you the relevant offer at the right time in the right way. Through an SMS or through a call, outbound call to you. So you will grab that opportunity and do the move at that time.
Esta idea de ya no decir que cada persona es un segmento, está operando principalmente, según lo que han comentado, para operadores de telecomunicaciones y para instituciones financieras. Sin embargo, también creo que puede operar para gobiernos, también trabajan para gobiernos. Y en ese caso, si por ejemplo han tenido contactos con el gobierno de México, con instituciones como el SAT,
Yes, I mean the one-to-one marketing or segmentation or the power of one is applicable everywhere. As Mahindra Comviva, we are very focused on certain market segments. The number one segment for us is the mobile operators, because our products are very focused and tuned to the mobile operator. That's number one. Secondly, when we are into our mobile payments area, the second segment that we work with is financial institutions, okay? And financial institutions providing mobile money or mobile wallet also have some interaction with the government disbursements that come in. that are benefits or subsidies, etc., that can be coming into your mobile money service. So in that sense, there is some relationship with government's money coming into mobile money. And the third segment that we work is in the retail space, where people are looking at payment technologies using the mobile for mobile wallet. So today, as Mahindra Comviva, we are operating in only 3 primary segments: mobile operators, financial institutions, and then in the whole supply chain of financial, and the retail. We have not targeted the government sector with our solutions as such at this point.
De nuevo, gracias. ¿De cuánto es el mercado potencial en cuanto a dinero móvil, desarrollo de wallets, sistemas de pago vía electrónica, vía móvil? ¿De cuánto estiman que es el mercado o que puede llegar a ser el mercado aquí en el país? Y específicamente, ¿con qué compañías estarían operando o ya tuvieron acercamiento? No sé, también van a convivir con sistemas creados como Google Wallet, o también piensan, o solamente piensan llegar a operadoras como Telefónica o América Móvil. Gracias.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very relevant question for Mahindra Comviva. So, in every country that we go, there are various regulations in regard to what can be done using the mobile in the space of money. Okay. Today, in Mexico, right now, the way situation is, a bank has to be involved for any type of a mobile money transaction. Okay. So there are various players in this chain of transactions. So there are telecom operators that provide you the mobile connectivity. There is the bank that can do all the critical things about exchanging money or sending money inside borders and outside borders. So you probably understand fraud, there is exchange, there is assurance, there are all types of services that need to be done. So the bank is important. In between, there are payment networks, right? I mean, you have people like Transfer, for example, right here, right? There are payment networks. Then, when you're talking about transferring money, you also have international remittance type of companies like Western Union or MoneyGram or Zoom, right? So, we as Comviva, in different markets, we work with all these players in the mobile money chain, mobile money and mobile wallet chain, okay? Similar to, so that's on just the mobile money, which is a stored value account that is connected with your mobile. Then you go outside of it and open it up. That's when the mobile wallet comes into play, which is, we have a product similar to what the technology that Google Wallet provides, which is essentially replacing your back pocket wallet by a digital wallet, and the digital wallet is connected to your credit card information, to your bank account, to a debit card, to a loyalty card, and so on and so forth, and that becomes a wallet. So we provide such a wallet. Now in certain countries, again, the wallet is not allowed yet because of money restrictions, right? So in Mexico right now, the regulations are changing. All these players I mentioned above or earlier are in the play, and we are in discussions with the operators, the financial institutions, the payment networks. We are already connected with people like MasterCard. We are connected with people like Western Union, MoneyGram. So, to give you an example, in El Salvador, we work with an operator, and we can accept money from somebody in the US sending money through a Western Union service and landing in a Tigo mobile money account associated with my wallet. So or with my mobile. So I'm hoping that very soon here in Mexico also, as the regulations become more friendly for exchanging money and doing transactions over the mobile, we will get to work with many of the different players. But specifically to answer your question, we are working and discussing with all the players right now in the chain. Does that answer your question?
And the value for the Mexican, and the value for...
Oh, yes, the value, yes. Just to give you some examples, I cannot quantify the full value, but to give you an example, there are very important money corridors. So for example, when money is transmitted from US to Mexico, that's a huge, big money corridor for international remittances. I think it's more than $8 billion a year or something like that, right? So you can see the scale of how it is. After that comes the corridor from US to Central America. Now, to give you an example of our success and the kind of scale of money that we handle, there's a country in Africa called Zimbabwe, very close to South Africa. Our mobile money operates, works with the biggest operator there in Zimbabwe. 22% of the country's GDP, okay, which is about $4 billion per year, runs through our system. Okay, as Comviva, across the globe, we today handle about more than 25 billion US dollar worth of transactions through our mobile money, mobile wallet, and electronic recharge products. So that kind of gives you a scale of the kind of involvement that we have gotten into in other places, and we can get into here in Mexico if the opportunity comes.
Thank you.
Hola, buenos días. Oscar García del Momento Noticias. Bueno, teniendo en consideración que la India y México son países en desarrollo, me gustaría saber qué similitudes se encuentran en ambos mercados y si esas similitudes representan ventajas o desventajas ahorita que quieren ingresar a nuestro país y cuáles serían esas ventajas o desventajas. Gracias.
So let me be very specific in the answer. One of the biggest similarities that we see between India and Mexico is the people are price sensitive and value conscious. I need value for money, and I need value for money at a price which I want. In this sector, and this may not be true for all developing countries, but if this were to be the case where I am price sensitive but value conscious, real-time marketing with customer behavior understanding is the key in telecom analytics.
Yeah, it's a very good question because, if you look at our two civilizations and cultures, both are very old, right? A lot of similar tastes. Music, for example, you are into music, we are into music. You have different regions where different food, dance, music, everything is different. Similarly, you've heard of Bollywood and all the different languages we have and the different types of movies we have. So all of those culturally, there is a nice fit, okay? And how it translates to our business is that, we have taken advantage of the interests of the people from a culture, music, food, football, sports, all those perspectives, and in the space of content, which is music, entertainment, lifestyle. In the case of commerce, which is the value consciousness part that you mentioned, the ability to do convenient transaction, and in the space of internet, all of those, the services that we provide and the products that we have created in India and in Africa and Middle East, etc., for example, are directly transferable to Mexico. Of course, there is some local adaptation required because we cannot have Hindi music running in a Spanish country, right? So those local adaptations are to be done, but the cultures and the tastes are similar. So we feel that a lot of our products will find a very nice foothold in this culture. Thank you.
Pues muchas gracias por su presencia, agradecemos haber estado con nosotros y pues gracias Vikram, gracias a mí. Estaremos trabajando, cualquier requerimiento adicional, estamos a sus órdenes. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. We hope to see you again soon. If you have any further questions, we'll be here.